I would make that announcement
Okay,
on the microphone one more time.
normally Diane calls for roll call. I'll do it. Pam, are you here?
I'm here.
Rick
I'm here.
I'm here.
and Tom?
I'm here.
And Diane and Kim will be a little late today. They have an important engagement out there.
Can I do that announcement real quick?
Sure.
Okay, just a quick announcement, I already gave it, but anybody that might have come in, and for people at YouTube, if you want to speak in the audience, you must use the microphone. Even I have to start using it. With my loud voice, you can't be heard on YouTube. So if you want to speak, put your hand up, Peg will walk over with the cordless mic.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 21st, the board meeting, and to approve the minutes.
Seconded.
Second.
Okay.
Hang on, there are two changes
Oh, yeah, that's right.
in the minutes. One is, it said the annual meeting will be held at the yacht club. That's a mistake, it'll be changed in the minutes. The annual meeting is at this clubhouse. The counting of the ballots will be done at the yacht club. And there was some correspondence from Lee Gamble that was not included in the minutes. It is on the bulletin board, and that will be added as official part of the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll make a motion with those changes that we approve the minutes. Second. Okay, Pam, you approve?
Yes.
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And yes for me. Okay. We have correspondence from the Veteran Committee, but it's on the agenda, so I'll read it a little later. And Chris also mentioned, but I wanted to make one other thing. Please wait for the microphone to come to you before you start speaking, because we lose what you started off or begin to say. So Peggy will be there with the microphone. Just raise your hand if you're acknowledged. Wait till you get the microphone, and then you can begin what you'd like to talk about. You raise your hand. To everybody, be patient. We'll get to speak to everyone. I'm sorry. And please shut off your phones. If anyone has their phones, please shut them off for the meeting. Okay, we'll have a couple of comments, and then we'll get into our discussion agenda. Just wanted to make a few comments about Omicron. Actually, we're doing really good. The last couple of weeks, we are down over 60% nationally and doing well. We got a way to go, but Omicron seems to be backing off, and I see a light at the end of the tunnel. I think by the end of February, we'll be in real good shape, hopefully. Of course, you're all aware we're going to have a special assessment for the ponds coming up. I'll let Lorraine elaborate on that.
Okay, yes, the letter went out to all the owners, and we will be voting on it on February 22nd. So everybody, please pay attention, because the vote will come on the 22nd. Any questions, don't hesitate to call me or Chris, and we'll be glad to answer all your questions.
Okay, and a couple of weeks ago, we had our audit here with Kevin Payne, who CPA, who does all our financial checking. Lorraine, you want to speak on that, please?
Yeah. Yeah, we met with Kevin to go over the audit. It is complete, and we got a really great report. Again, as always, we are in great financial condition, and we need to keep that up, so everything is good so far. Let's see how we do this year.
Thank you, Lorraine.
And as soon as we get them from the accountant, it'll be on channel 63, that if you want a copy of the review, all you gotta do is come up to the office and pick one up.
Something else, the pool lift, as you know, we've been talking about it for a while, and Kim Ryan has been handling getting the information and getting ready to make a proposal to the board. Kim's not here, but she's still working, still getting more information. I spoke to her the other day, and she says she's not ready to give her a report. So soon, though, we'll get it done soon. Just to let you know, most of you probably know, we are in the process of having our buildings checked for stability and other issues. We're sort of being a little proactive where Chris has hired an engineer. We did 5 buildings in here, and we got the report back, a real thorough, well-done report. And what it said was basically all 5 buildings had some minor issues, cracks and holes or things that we can address that didn't need to be done immediately. But it's good that Chris has initiated this year. We plan to do all the buildings. It's not a big expense, but with what happened down in Miami, this is a big issue. We had gone to a seminar last week, and that's all the insurance representative spoke about communities getting their buildings inspected, or else they're going to have a hard time getting insurance. And maybe, Chris, you want to say anything about that?
Nope.
Okay, but pretty much, I'm glad to see we're proactive, we're checking the buildings, and so far the 5 buildings that we did check, like I said, really had minor issues that we will be taking care of. Right. This is a little personal thing. Neil Diamond Show is coming up the end of February, and still have a few tickets left. It's a great show. If you want any information, give me a call. I'm going to go around now and see if any of the board members would have something on their mind that would like to speak before we get to the list of discussion items. Tom, anything you want to say?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, Lorraine?
Not at this time.
Oh, Diane, you're back.
Not at this time.
And Pam?
Not at this time.
And Vic?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, all right. We'll go right to the discussion.
Need to waive the Robert orders.
Oh,
Robert rules.
thank you. I make a motion that we waive the Robert Rules of Order and proceed with discussion only.
Second.
Lorraine, want to call for,
Oh, yeah. Daniil?
Here, yes.
Andrews?
Yes.
Brous?
Yes,
Kabinski? Yes. McIntyre, yes. Ferretti?
yes. Okay, thank you. The first item to discuss, the Planning Committee gave a recommendation, a report, a nice report, well done. And I'm going to let Tom, who is the liaison to the Planning Committee, read or talk about the 3 issues that the Planning Committee included in their report.
Okay, the Planning Committee has 3 recommendations to the Board of Directors. The first recommendation is, we've been discussing handrails for a couple of years now, and we've come to the conclusion that the handrail situation should stay the way it is, and if somebody needs a handrail, they will have to purchase it on their own. Chris will help them out on getting information, and that there aren't that many people who want a second rail, and if they want a rail, they're going to have to purchase it themselves. That's number 1. Number 2, we have a recommendation that the recycle bins that are out around are really starting to look shabby, and would like something done. Maybe beautification committee can do some planting around them, or something be done so that they just don't stick out like a sore thumb, and this can be discussed by the board. The third recommendation is for grills. It came from the planning committee that folks would like some more grills put around the area so that they can go out and grill their hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever. The planning committee came up with 3 sites that would like to use 4 grills, and it will be between building 11 and 12, between 29 and 30, and between 41 and 42. We would like them to be purchased on a trial basis, and if they are not kept up and they don't follow the recommendations that are made by the board, they would be removed. And that's the recommendation from the planning committee.
Okay, we'll have board comments on that. Tom, would you like to add anything?
No, it's just that With the grill situation, there seems to be some kind of pushback coming around where there's, this is just conjecture on my part, that people are signing some kind of petition where they don't want grills, they don't want extra grills here. I don't know if it's true or not. I just heard this. And like I say, this is a trial. This isn't, once the grills are in, they're going to stay forever. If they're not taken care of properly, if people complain about them, we will do something about that.
All right, thank you, Tom. All right, I'd like to say a few things about the grills. First of all, in the beginning, I was on board with it. I seemed to, thought it was a real good idea. I have one of those smokeless grills, works pretty good, but I thought it was a good idea to possibly do that. However, I've been getting some feedback, and a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I've heard different things, and also myself, after thinking about it, I'd just like to bring up some of the things that we have to figure out before we go ahead with this here. And that would be who's going to be doing the cleaning of the grills, and that'll be year-round. That could be an issue of cleaning, because if someone's on a grill and he has a steak ready to go, he might not be inclined to clean the grill. And if someone's waiting that wants to get on the grill, it could be more than one waiting. Could be issues there as far as cleaning goes and keeping it clean. So I know there'll be volunteers, but we need somebody to be there year-round to keep the grill cleaned on a regular basis. We've had issues here when we had our grill right here outside, and we had rodent issues there where we had to put out traps and stuff because of the grills. So that's something. It all has to be approved by the neighbors of the surrounding buildings. Don't forget, there's smoke from the grill, there's odors, there's things like that that have to be, thought about. The grills will be open to all. People who have the grills in their area have to remember, if the guy around the corner wants to put something, the grills are open to all residents. Remember that. Not just the area where they're situated. Hours available. What are they going to be? They're going to be open up. Somebody wants to grill a hot dog at 11 o'clock at night. We have to set hours. Are they going to be locked? Who'll get the keys? There's a lot of things to think about. Approval of not only the people surrounding the grill, but the residents in general. How do they feel about it? And upkeep and congregating there. What's to stop somebody come with a couple of beers and grill his hot dog and hang around? It's something we have to give some thought to. It's nice to have a grill. I love to grill, but I think we got to give this some thought. Okay, Lorraine, would you like to say something?
I think you and Tom pretty much covered my concerns. I have the same concerns, who's going to be responsible. The cleaning is the biggest thing, because we don't want any rodents around, really.
Thank
So,
you. Diane?
Okay, I'm going to talk on the other side, because I was the one that brought it to the planning committee, and I did it after thinking about some of these issues. And the first one being, we are getting a younger population, and we actually need to think about that and look at our amenities and say, are there any that we can improve on? Having the grill here and across the street is convenient for a limited number of people. Adding grills on a trial basis is something that I think we should seriously consider. Now, I know I don't know. Like you, Tom, I've been told there's a petition going around. The petition, and I feel unfortunate that this petition has actually been circulated before people actually heard what the plan was. And I'll clearly say to you, about 3 years ago, I got caught in the same situation where someone said, would you sign a petition? I did, and then I found out afterwards what really went into it. So I apologize to that. I hope that you will clearly listen to what our protocol would be for the grill. I know one of them is a health issue. I have a little hard time accepting that. We all have health issues, and if we said to someone who has a cardiac issue, you can't live upstairs, we wouldn't get away with it. So saying that someone has COPD or difficulty breathing doesn't seem appropriate for one person to overtake 400, let's say. The third issue is we did identify in the planning committee 3 full-time people to monitor those grills year-round. So I don't think that's an issue. The third being, I haven't seen the petition, I don't know who's on it, but I assume that when people go home, they grill. So people who live here should be able to grill. The other comment I heard was that there was concern about the smell of the barbecue. Well, clearly, if you go over to 49, you can smell the Italian restaurant. Okay, if you go up and down our buildings at Thanksgiving, you can smell turkeys. And a good Italian cook, you'll smell garlic. I always think, why don't they just invite me in? You know, they don't, or I didn't ask. I guess that's it for right now.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Pam, your thoughts?
My thoughts. I agree with Tom and Jean. I agree with some of what Diana said. But everything, the comments that I have heard so far have been negative, and I have to listen to the people.
Thank you, Pam. Vic?
My issues are mainly safety, maintaining the grills. I stopped back here the other day and looked at the grill and also the flat grill. Now, the flat grill was used over the weekend, so I was really curious to see what condition it was in. So I pulled the cover off. It was terrible. It was not cleaned after use. The grill that we have here and have had is not clean. People don't clean them up. Ron went down to the yacht club over the weekend to use the grill, and he has pictures of it. It was filthy. I don't think I'd even want to use it. So, concern is maintenance.
Right.
Also, as we all know, we have rats around here. Even though we can be as careful as possible, you might drop grease on the ground or maybe even little pieces of food. That's going to invite our little friends to come in and have lunch. Safety issue.
And they don't clean.
People might not turn the gas off completely and the gas will leak. What happens if you get up in the morning and you want to take a shower and there's no hot water at all because somebody left the grill on and it drained the propane tank? Now that's an additional expense to all of us. Also, talking about expense, the additional grills, I know everybody pays for what propane is being used now. You put in 3 more grills, there's 3 more usages of propane that us as residents and homeowners have to bear in our HOA fee. There's too many issues here. I don't think it's a good idea. Petitions, yes, I have one in hand from one complete building that does not want it near their building. And that was their prerogative. I explained, being on the board, I knew what the plan was. I explained what was going on. And after that, they went and did the petition to not have it. And I understand there are other petitions either in the process of being done or getting ready to be done before our next board meeting. That's my concern. I am not for it.
Thank you, Vic. Chris, you want to make any comments?
Nope.
Okay. All right, take comments from the floor. Any residents like to speak on it? Yes.
Wait for the mic.
Wait for your mic. That's right.
Yeah, as you know, I'm part of the planning committee, and I worked on the proposal for the grills. When Chris and I did the ride around to select the areas, we picked the areas that had the largest area to place the grills furthest away from the buildings, so that diminishes some of the issues that have been raised. We also, I've been in contact with people adjacent to each of those locations who have volunteered year-round to maintain the grills, make sure they're clean, make sure they're closed up. So I think that addresses another one of the issues. And lastly, each of the locations is an area where there is already a patio area with benches, so there are people congregating there now. I don't see that that's going to be a real issue, and I think if you impose the proper protocols, people will follow them, and the grills will be beneficial to those that really want to use them.
All right, thanks. Anyone else like to speak on it? Ron?
Has anybody talked to the people in the buildings? Okay, in each one of those buildings, that those grills are gonna be in between. I have, I know that, I'm not on the board, okay? I've talked to a few different people. Most of them don't want these grills. They don't want smoke coming up into the second floor, okay? They don't want people congregating. I mean, granted, there's patios there and people are congregating, they do get around there, but this, you're talking about lighting up grills, there's gonna be smoke there. Another safety issue is, like Vic said, you've got gas on there. Somebody leaves the gas on, somebody walks by with a cigarette or something, and it blows up. Who's gonna take care of that? Okay, that could be an issue. That happened out here one day. Some guy was trying to, this was a few years ago, he's trying to light the grill out here. Wouldn't light. The gas was so bad out there, it was unbelievable. I told him not to touch anything. We had to wait for the gas to dissipate. That could happen on those grills. Somebody could leave it on. I mean, it's a safety issue. I think, I wouldn't want rats around my apartment, I'll tell you that, because people drop food. It's gonna happen, and people are not gonna keep those grills clean. They can't keep these, the two we have, they can't keep clean. Okay, that one down there at the yacht club, I just took the whole thing apart, took the burners out of, it's brand new, it was just put in November. Okay, I put it in November. It wasn't clean, it was filthy, rotten, dirty. You think they're gonna keep these things clean? I don't care who you have for volunteers, it's not gonna happen, because the volunteers will go by the wayside. It's only a matter of time before they go by the wayside.
Thank you, Ron. Diane?
I have a question because one of the grills you spoke about will be between my building and Building 11. And
Speak up.
oh,
Speak up.
I- there'll be the grill will be between Building 11 and 12. I heard you mentioned, and that's where I am in 12. My concern is this: even just, and it's probably going to be sound so silly, but you're cooking on the grill. You have a spatula, you have a flipper, you have everything. Where does you put that stuff if there's no little table aside of it? Don't put it on my bench. I paid for that bench. Don't you dare put your things on my bench. And I come in and I sit down and I got, guess what? Barbecue sauce all over my white pants. No, I don't really care for that. And I'm mentioning that.
I'd like to comment to that.
Thank you, Diane.
I'd like to comment to that, Jean.
Yes.
I think part of the protocol would be that everybody brings their own utensils, so there is nothing dirty left hanging off the grill like we have in the other two.
Bertie.
But where do you place them, Diane, while you're cooking? I mean, will there be something that they can hang on the grill? I just don't want them putting them on the benches, that we purchased and wanted.
Thank you,
it just makes
Diane.
sense
Let's
to me.
not make it debate. Will you make your point, and we'll proceed on anyone else wants to speak. Yeah, 1 second. Is there anyone else? Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was looking into the whole idea a while back as more like a club, and let me explain what I'm talking about. Instead of putting the grills in the position you're talking about, maybe just 2 grills to start with, one all the way down in the far south corner, one all the way up in the far north corner. There's quite a bit of clearance up there. They'd be propane grills. We'd have to anchor them down with a lock and chain. We would use a honor system to put $1 or whatever in a can each time you use it to buy new propane. And if you don't clean it up, then you don't get to use it anymore. You lose your key. So it's a little bit like the wood shop. But I think the locations you're putting them in is the biggest part of the problem, what people have a problem with. These two locations I'm talking about are really about as far away as you can get from any building, and the nice thing about being all the way down there or all the way in the north is we've got something right in the center. We've got something over at the yacht club. So if you look at the overall layout of the whole site, at least you're giving people a much shorter walk than what they have right now. But granted, yeah, you'd have to pay for the propane, anchor the thing down, lock it up, and then people could sign up. You say, I want to use it this, Friday night, and sign their name before they can use it. I mean, I think there's ways to solve a lot of the issues that you're hearing just by picking different locations and going propane in the tanks.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will comment on one thing. We cannot use tanks. It must be hardwired to a gas tank. That's from Martin County Fire Department.
If it is approved, we would put fire extinguishers nearby, to help. But as you can see, there's a lot of issues here. Bertie, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to know how much use the two existing barbecues get, and who cleans them. I understand from Victor, no one.
Well, just to answer that, Bertie, they get used. They do. I live right there. There's people. Sometimes there's a couple of 2 or 3 people waiting to use them. It's hard to say, how well it goes and how many people are there, but I don't think they're overly crowded. There are, they do get used, though, absolutely. Anyone else? Yeah. Wally.
Yeah, Chris just brought up a good point, and my question would be, if this is going to be a permanent structure and you're going to run a line to it, does that have to be approved unanimously by the community?
It's not actually considered a permanent structure. You can disconnect that tank in 5 minutes and remove it. It wouldn't be considered a permanent structure.
Yeah, but that didn't answer my question, Chris. Would it have to go up for a vote?
It's not a permanent structure, so it would not have to go for a vote.
Okay.
The question was, if it's a permanent structure, it's not considered a permanent structure.
Yeah, but putting in a gas line would affect everyone's monthly bill, correct?
It has absolutely nothing to do with it. If the board of directors decide to get internet, it's going to make your maintenance go up. It's a board decision.
There was another hand over there, no? All right, Rob, I'll give you another chance. That's it.
I just wanted to respond to the one issue about where to put utensils and stuff like that. The grill that was recommended and considered by the planning committee has places to hang and also a tray on the side where things could be placed, and they wouldn't be put on the benches at all.
Okay. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. You have to wait. Go ahead.
I'm fairly new, been here a year, and since I've been coming to the meetings, I've heard a problem with the printers, paper, problem with the trash cans, which you're fixing, and now you want to put grills, and I don't care if the younger people, and I'm one of them, no, they maybe would, but probably won't clean up like we do. So I am not in favor of it at all.
Thank you. Kathy in the back.
This has nothing to do with the grills, but we spent a lot of money in this clubhouse to make it look beautiful, okay? And we were all for it. I am disgusted with the furniture that's out there on the deck. There's 5, as of today, there's 5 chairs.
Kathy, let's stay on the grills, please. There'll be comments later on. Anyone? Go ahead, Chris, you wanted to say something else? You You just said it didn't have anything to do with the grills. Go ahead, Chris.
I just wanted to address a safety issue. There was worries about people leaving things on or, using all the propane. When you have a propane system, there are so many safeguards built in that if, the line's going to be small, feeding a grill, as opposed to, a big water heater or something. But if you have any kind of breaks in these lines, there's things called excess flow valves that are built into the tanks. So that just shuts everything off at the tank if there's any kind of a break. Okay, so there are a whole lot of safety interlocks that you have to have by code. And I've designed some of these systems, that's why I'm telling you this stuff, that might make some people a little bit more comfortable from a safety
All
standpoint.
right. Thank you, Chris. Anyone else? All right, it's clear to me that there's a lot of issues here and a lot of things to think about. I don't think it's ready for a vote, especially if we have petitions coming in, not that we're going to wait for them, but I think a little more discussion has to be on this issue and thought about. So I don't feel it's necessary to put on the agenda for the next board to vote on, so we could just table it for a while till we feel comfortable, and there seems to be among the board themselves that we have to kick it around a little bit. So that's what I'd like to do. Any comments on that from the board?
Gene, I just
Vic.
have one more comment.
Go ahead.
It's been mentioned here that we would have protocols to maintain the grills and everything. Nobody follows the protocols we already have at the 2 grills that we have now. So why are they going to follow them at these 3 new grills?
Okay, thank you, Vic. All right, we'll move on to this number 2 on the agenda.
Okay, on the first 2 proposals, the rails and the recycle bins, are we going to discuss that, or are we just going to pass it by?
Well, we just discussed it, Tom.
Yeah, so-
Okay, so what, as far as putting a motion, I don't think it's necessary to put a motion. It was recommended that we keep the rails the way they are.
Yep.
Okay, so we keep them the way they are. And also, as far as the other issues, the hedges, myself, I don't know how many recycle bins we have here. We must have them almost at least at every building. So we have to see, first of all, purchase the hedges, arrange for hedges to be put in to make sure they don't interfere. I think we should check with Waste Management to see if they have any issues with it. And then, if that's the case, and find out what the cost, if we're building hedges around maybe 50 or 60 bins, we have to make arrangements for the money and the cost and all that stuff. We talked to Chris about it and other board members. We will address it. We're talking about it and thinking about it, and I don't see any reason. I don't think it being a high-cost item, but I don't think it's necessary to make a motion yet. I think I myself want to research it a little bit, take a look at the recycle pails and see exactly what's going on and make sure Waste Management is okay with it. Since we're going to be putting hedges around their 3-sided hedges, they should have, it'll be access for us to get it, but will it be access for the trucks to pick them up? So there are things to think about. Talked to Chris about it recently, and will be taken care of. We'll talk about it and keep you addressed. If someone wants to make a motion, that's fine, but I'm not ready to make a motion. Okay, so we'll move on to the second item, okay? Okay, we have a correspondence. Yes, Bertie? Okay, yeah.
Regarding handrails, isn't that an ADA issue and what's required by, I don't know, laws?
I'll let Chris.
No, it's not. The ADA first of all, the ADA does not handle us. We are handled by HUD, not the ADA, because we're a private community. And it is not code to have an additional rail on that side of the building. As long as there's one rail, that's all that's required.
So if you want a rail, you have to get together with your building.
An additional rail, if you want an additional rail.
Okay. Everybody in the building would chip in,
Oh.
and we'd
Yeah.
put in a work order for it?
Oh, no.
How do you do it?
You are new.
Yes, I am.
Okay, if you can get your building, and normally it's only the upstairs people, because the downstairs people say, why do I need a rail? It would be up to the upstairs people. I would say, out of the 17 years I've been here, that most of these rails have been installed by only one or two set of residents. You don't put a work order into us, you actually have to contact the company that does it and do everything through them. There's only one company that we recommend to do it. They have done every single rail in here.
Excellent. What do they cost?
They're up to about $475, I believe.
And
$475?
$475.
installed.
Okay.
Bertie, it should mention that, don't forget, upstairs is divided. You have a rail on each side, so you might have maybe 2, 3 residents are willing to chip in. It's not a big expense, and it has been done many times here at Monterey. Okay, we're going ahead on the second one, which is, we have correspondence here from the Veterans Committee, and I'll read it to you. They make a request, and they also have a mission statement, which I will read first, okay? This comes from the the Monterey Veterans Committee. The mission statement reads as follows. The Monterey Veterans Committee is formed under MORA to bring together and honor all Monterey residents, past, current, and future, who have served our country in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, Merchant Marine, and National Guard. This will be done by holding appropriate ceremonies open to all Monterey residents and guests on Veterans Day, November 11th, and Memorial Day, the last Monday in May each year. Further, the committee is proposing to create and maintain a permanent memorial to recognize our Monterey veterans and to remind all of Monterey of the service and sacrifice of our veterans and their families. That's their mission statement. Their request to the Board of Directors from the Veterans Committee. The Monterey Veterans Committee has established as a formal committee under MORA, has been established as a formal committee under MORA. Attached for your information is the committee's mission statement. To further our mission, we are requesting approval from the board to rename Monterey Park as Veterans Memorial Park. Hopefully in the near future, after we do sufficient fundraising, we will come back to the board for approval to create and maintain a permanent Veterans Memorial to be placed at the Memorial Park. Thank you for your favorable consideration of our request. I will be happy to answer any questions you have. Submitted by Bob Stover at the Veterans Committee. Well, as a veteran and just a resident, I approve this 100%. I don't know if you remember, but maybe about a year and a half ago, I had a pedestal that I had researched to put out in the flag ceremony area to celebrate not only our residents, but also our veterans. I handled it wrong. I went to 2 local funeral places that make the pedestals, and the quotes I got were $25,000, $22,000, because they make them out of granite and whatnot, and it just was out of our reach. Researched it a little better and come up with less expensive ones, and finally we had someone that was interested in doing it for a couple of $1,000 made out of concrete, which is, I'm sure it's concrete, I'm not positive, but if you go downtown Stewart, they have a Memorial Park there where they must have about 15 of these pedestals that really look super, and they're made out of concrete or whatever, and we would put a Monterey plaque on top. So anyway, I gave that information to Bob. I'm not sure how his committee is going to proceed, but I'm all for it, and those are my comments, and now I'll go to the board here. I'll start with Vic.
I think it's a great idea. The park up there is very nice. Some people might not even realize it's there. But I was talking to a gentleman the other day. I said, I think there's already light up there, I believe. We could have maybe flags around it for each branch of service. And I suggested to possibly ask for donations. For items like that, the residents here are more than happy to donate money. And I think it could be a very, very nice project for everybody here.
Just to clarify, we used to have our veterans ceremonies outside of back by the flagpole here. And the park we're talking about, everyone should be aware, but maybe some new residents, is the park over here, the big park in the center, right opposite, I think it's building 45 and 39, like in there, the big park, which has a little walk around and stuff in it. It's very nice, large, and it'd be ideal. Pam?
Oh, I'm 100% for it.
Thank you. Diane?
I'm 100% for it too. I don't know if everybody's aware, but we actually have a POW that lives here. And, we live in a 55 and older community, and I think that is what we represent.
Thank you. Kim?
Totally, and I appreciate the way that the committee has approached the board with the protocol and then coming back with their second stage of ideas.
Thank you. Lorraine?
I'm with it 100%.
And Tom?
I think it's a no-brainer, absolutely behind it.
Okay. Then we'll go to, before that, I just want to thank Bob and the Veterans Committee, and I agree with Kim said. They really handled this. Did their due diligence, research what was necessary, and is working hard to get this done. There will be a scramble coming up for the Veterans Committee so they can put some money together and donations to purchase the monument that they plan to put up. And now, if anyone wants to speak on this item from the residents out there? Bob, you want to say anything, Bob? Or?
Well, I appreciate the favorable comments. The request speaks for itself, and Gene, I appreciate you mentioning the scramble. More is going to be up on Channel 63 in the next few days about that and our fundraising efforts. So the Veterans Committee appreciates the support from everybody here. We would ask for any veteran that's out there, if you would get some information to myself or anybody else that's on the Veterans Committee, Jimmy Mitchell or Dick Germond, Bill McIntyre, and I'm probably forgetting one or two people, but we'd like to get just a register going of all of our veterans and their contact information so that we can alert them and keep them apprised of any activities that we're going to do. And if the request for the renaming is approved by the board, just in advance to let you know, we hope we're going to be able to dedicate it on Memorial Day this year.
Okay.
Thank you.
I applaud the Veterans Committee. Thank you much. Ron?
I just wanted to say it's an awesome idea. It should definitely be voted on and approved. Absolutely.
Okay. Any other comments? Well, then I'd like to make a motion that we put this on the agenda for the upcoming meeting in a couple of weeks.
Second.
Diane?
Ryan?
You don't take motions. You just say it's added to the agenda.
Okay.
There's no voting.
No.
Okay. We'll move on to the next item. Problem is, I made my agenda here, or discussion agenda, different from some of the other board members and then different from my original. So, if you see me pausing here, it's because I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. But anyway, I have found it. All right. I wanted to talk about Pond 2. Now, Pond 2 was not on our agenda as far as getting the ponds fixed. Ponds 8 and ponds 25 were what we're having a special assessment for. But we've been talking about Pond 2 as a fill-in. We had a suggestion or a recommendation from a committee, I forget the committee's name.
Golf Course Maintenance Committee.
Thank you. And it's something that I think maybe most of the golfers would like to see Pond 2 filled in. It's not a big expense. We wouldn't have to bulkhead it. We'll be taking out some, dredging some silt or fill from the other ponds as we, 8 and 25, as we address them hopefully this year. And I don't think it would be a big expense. It's just something that I think we can address while we're doing Pond 8 and 25. Last year when we were doing 4, our contractor was managed to got some fill that was, where other contractors are looking to get rid of. And it might not cost us much. At least that's, I remember that. Not exactly sure exactly what it was, but he did fill some areas, and possibly it wouldn't be a big expense. But anyway, Pond 2 is tucked away in a corner there. It needs to be addressed. It's like all the rest of them, having erosion problems, and needs to be filled or bulkheaded, and I'm for filling it in. And that's just my thoughts, my idea, maybe not idea, but I had the support of the committee that agreed with it. So I figured that maybe we could get it done this year too. So I'm going to pull the board on it. And Lorraine, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I think it's a very good idea, but if you do that, you're going to need to have some kind of pipe installed to run the water from 25, building 25 down to 3.
Yeah.
And Chris, to me, that would be the biggest expense. Is that correct, Chris?
Correct.
All right.
And you're exactly correct. There is actually a culvert that runs from Pond 3 to that little pond, and from that little pond to Pond 25.
Right.
So we would have to have a culvert added just to connect those two and then fill it in. Should be much less expensive than dredging that pond and bulkheading it.
Yes, I understand. You don't have any idea what the cost would be?
No, but that is something when Osiris actually does get here
Yeah.
to come and work on these things, that we can definitely ask him, this is
Exactly.
what we would like to do, use as much fill as possible from the ponds that we will be dredging. When we did Pond 5, we had to we didn't pay, we gave it away,
Yeah.
50 loads of fill.
Right.
So if we needed to buy fill is much cheaper than bulkhead.
Right, okay. I'm all for it. I really am all for filling that pond in correctly. I'm for that.
Just thank you, Lorraine. I should mention that, the last couple of years with COVID and the pandemic, we haven't had stayed on our intent to do a pond a year. So I'd just like to catch up. It would be a low expense, hopefully, but we'll look more into it when the contractor gets here.
Good.
Kim?
I agree with Lorraine, and I think we need to look more into it.
Okay, thank you. Diane?
I just have one comment and one question. Would we build this cost into the ponds that we're doing a special assessment for?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
We have a special assessment now. It could, we'd have to find out the story, the cost, and all that stuff, and just make sure it can be done, So it is something to think about. I just wanted to bring it out there and let them know what I think. If we can get another pond done this year at a reasonable cost,
Yeah.
we should take advantage of it.
And
Pam,
my
I'm
second,
sorry.
my
Go ahead,
second comment is personal. I think any water hole you can fill in is better for my game.
Everybody could take a stroke off their game.
I'd like to say a little, but I'd like to respond to your first question, because I know we cannot do that, because we've already notified all our owners that we have a special assessment, and it's for Pond 8 and Pond 25. So we cannot add another one to that. But we're going to be doing another pond, hopefully, next year, so we can certainly put that in that that one, and that's how we would handle it.
Thanks, Lorraine.
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Diane. Pam?
I'm for it as long as we do our research and we look into making sure that it's not much of an additional cost, if it's any. Because if we're going to do 8 and 25, if we can stockpile that fill or whatever we would be taking out, like we did when we did the ponds over here and we had our large mound of dirt. If we could stockpile that so that the next pond that we do, we could incorporate that fill also, therefore using our own resources.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I'm for it.
Thank you. Vic?
I think filling that in would add to the aesthetics of that portion of the golf course. Also helped me a lot, keeping my balls out of the pond. But I'm all for it, and I think we should move forward of getting what costs might be involved before we make the final decision.
Sure. Tom?
I agree with Vic. We should go forward on this, find out how much it costs. It's going to cost a lot less than trying to do to Pond 2 what we're doing to the other ponds.
Thank you, Tom. Chris, anything to say? No? Any comments from the residents? Right there. Wait for your microphone.
Which one?
Yeah, you're right there, so go ahead. You'll be next, okay?
Jim Hensel, 12J. You ought to put in your planning for filling in the pond. They're not ponds, they're retention basins for drainage. And by law, we have to maintain a certain amount of drainage ditches for the paved areas that we have. You might not be able to fill it in. You need to have that checked.
Okay, thank you.
Ann Christmas, I'm new in Building 2. When you talk about ponds, what is Pond 2? We don't know where these other ponds are.
If you play golf, when you're near the hole, usually if it's near hole 2, it's Pond 2.
Okay.
But Chris, go ahead, Chris.
Okay, so you don't play golf, but, so this is hole 1. When you walk to hole 2, there's a small pond on the left-hand side of it and a large pond on the right-hand side. But if you also go down this main street to Building 31, right along Canner Highway, you can actually see this little pond.
All right, I walk every day.
Okay, walk down there, look past that big sea grape tree, and you're going to see a pond that you're going to think, what is that doing here?
Okay.
And if I could respond to Mr. Hensel right now.
Sure.
When we first started doing this, what South Florida Water Management told us was as long as we have the same capacity of water to hold, then we could do basically whatever we wanted with the ponds as long as we have the same capacity. So being that all the ponds are actually being made much deeper, our overall capacity is staying the same, and in some cases, even better. So we should be covered underneath that, but that's always something that we do check with the contractor.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else like to speak on this? Okay.
Being fairly new here, I'm really confused with the assessments. So if you're in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath on the corner, you get assessed more than, yeah, explain it to me because
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so, no, that's all right, Pat. The way that our condominium documents are written, the developer set up the condo docs so that A, E, F, and J units, which are 2 2s, are assessed at 44% of whatever the price is, whatever we have to do. The B, D, G, and I's are assessed at 39%, and the C and H's are assessed at 17%. The reason he did this was not counting the patios, but the interior space. It was done on the square footage of the units. So the 2 2s are a little bit bigger, etc., as they go down to the 1 1s. Not counting the fact that so many people have closed in their patios. Unfortunately, the docks are written the way they are, and it would take 100% of all the unit owners to change it. Never happen, because you're going to have just one person in a C unit that's going to say, why should I pay the same amount if I don't have to? The only time that you can charge the 510 is if it's the same for everyone. For instance, Comcast. Everybody gets the same cable. You can divide that by the 510. So the way, and you're in a F unit. So the way it is done, we take the $175,000. You times that by 0.44. You then divide it by how many outside units there are, how many A, E, F, and J's, which there's 204. That's how you come up with the price that you're charged. Fair? Absolutely not. A lot of, like if we had to redo the swimming pool, everybody has the same exact right to use a swimming pool. You get 2 badges, you have 2 people, you have the same right. You're going to pay 44% compared to somebody paying 17. Was it always this way? Always. From the day this place was built, that's the way it was put in. And as I said, 100% of all the unit owners have to approve it. It'll never happen. Hurricane cleanup is the same way. Exactly what I said. The only thing you can charge the same, there are 4 things. Comcast, the fee that we pay to the state, our call-them-all system because it's actually billed by unit, and our base rate for water. Those are the only 4 things in the budget right now that are able to be done by 510. Everything else is done by the percentage basis.
Okay, anyone else?
I just want to reiterate what Jim said, okay? And also, do we have to check with Bachelor, because we're changing the property design of the property?
The ponds are really more under the jurisdiction of South Florida Water Management.
Okay.
Because like Bachelor could tell us, yeah, fill them all in. Well, South Florida Water Management would say, no, absolutely not. You're not filling them in.
I mean, when the design was made, it was made for a specific reason.
It was made, well, actually, if you look at the original plans, there was a creek running from Pond 3 to Pond 2. Okay. So obviously the original plans that were approved were not done, okay, because there obviously is not a creek in the front of Hole 2. Okay. Again, it's more of what the land lease is, because that is the common area, but we are governed by South Florida Water Management. I think it's something that Osiris would probably be able to answer us.
Absolutely.
I think we start with him first and ask what kind of pricing, and then if he feels it's something that needs to be approved by something else, I think we go from there, if that makes sense. I'm actually being told by Chris that I'm too loud.
What else is new?
You can't use this anymore.
Chris,
Okay.
one other thing, if it's in the description of the ponds in our directory and everything else, that's all going to have to change if we do that.
That's correct. It would have to change. Okay. I think really we're looking to first, what is the big price difference? I mean, if it's not a huge savings and it's not going to really do something for us, although I have had people say that just for playing golf alone would be good. Now, we could change the size of it. It doesn't mean we have to totally fill it in. You can make it a quarter of that size. The pond is still there. So I think there's something that we really need to look into before you guys make a decision. So, but we'll work on that.
Yeah, Peg.
Can we exchange Pond 25 for Pond 2? Because we call that Pond 25 because it's at the end of the building. Is that included in it when we're talking about the number of ponds in the description? Just a question.
Okay, so yeah, we just call it Pond 25 because it's next to Pond 25.
One of them, right.
All the rest of the ponds, we just name them after the whatever
we could still
hole
have our
they happen
same
to be
count.
close to. Right. Yeah.
So we would still have our same count if we did that.
You could still, sure, you could still have the same count.
Okay. This item on the agenda is not ready for any kind of board approval yet, but we got to get some more information, but it gets everybody thinking about getting a stroke off their game. So we'll move on to the next on the agenda. Windows. condo windows. We've been talking about this for a while, and just to elaborate, our windows here, most of them are 50 years old. You know, we started our community back in 70, 71. There are probably about 100, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, about 130 people that have already put their windows in at their own expense.
Give or take.
Okay. And we recently sent an idea to our attorney that Chris and I kicked up and thought it might work. However, our attorney said, no, it wouldn't work. Too bad. It would have been a lot easier to do. We are still contemplating on how to handle this, and I'm going to let Chris, I want to give him let him rest his throat, but I'm going to let him elaborate a little bit more on it.
Okay, so when windows were first discussed, it started around 2005 after the hurricanes. Obviously, it's a huge expense to replace all the windows with impact windows. So what the board did, they made a resolution that anyone who wants to replace their window, we will let you replace the window at your cost, and if and when it is ever either added to the budget or special assessed, which everyone assumed it would be by special assessment, you would be exempt from that special assessment. That recommendation or that resolution was actually re-ratified, again, to basically the same thing. The only thing that was changed was the type of window that you could use. The original resolution, you were only allowed to use one window. Since then, there's been many windows that have come out. Our attorney has said that as long as it is aesthetically looks the same, has that horizontal bar, you could do vinyl, you could do metal, you could do aluminum, you could do whatever you want. So, the windows are actually the association's responsibility. It's in the condominium documents. We had a request from an owner whose windows have been checked by 2 companies that their windows can no longer be replaced. And he is requesting that the association, or I'm sorry, his windows can no longer be repaired. So he is requesting new windows. Again, the association has never funded for them. It is a huge expense. So we ran quite a few scenarios past the attorney on how we could actually do this. The one that he has come up with that is most likely going to be proposed and you guys will have to vote on will be the board of directors has to pick a certain amount of windows you want to do a year. Let's say 1 building's worth. Not a full building. We're not just going to go to building 2 and do it, but 1A unit, 1B unit, 1C unit, etc. Find out how much that is. Fund for that by special assessment. It would be a separate reserve line item for windows only. Okay? Let's say, just off the top, $60,000 to do that many windows. We fund $60,000. First 10 people that happen to come in and say they need windows. Now, here's the thing. You don't just get windows because you want impact windows. If you call up and say, my window doesn't stay up, well, Tommy can come up there and put 2 brand new slides in and put a lock in. That's what you're getting. You're getting your window fixed. You're not getting a brand new window. It would be to the point where the window can no longer be repaired. It is exactly like your front door. How many people have put in requests for front doors where they have wood ones, and we're able to fix them? We only replace them if they're rotted or termite damage. It's going to be the same thing. Once you run out of money, it's just like the screens. We put $25,000 a year in for screens. If come November we've used that whole $25,000, the next person in line is waiting till the next year to get their screens. It would be the same thing for windows. And again, if we come to do windows and you're an end unit and these 2 windows have to be done, but your 2 next to it are okay and can be repaired, you're only getting those 2 windows. Okay? So it's not that we're going to make this and just come in here and start doing all the windows unless you guys want to do that. Unless the board of directors wants to do every single window no matter what. Okay? It's going to be a huge expense. And so here's where we get back to the breakdown. So now the fee is divided by the 204 A, E, F, and J units. Well, let's say 30 A, E, F, and J units already have their windows. They paid for them themselves. They will be exempt from that part of the special assessment, okay? So it will now be divided by 174 units instead of 204 units. But the overall price of the windows, of course, is going to go down because that many people have them done. Now, the only windows that everyone will be responsible for are the laundry rooms. No matter what, those are total common area. That will be a separate special assessment if and when we decide to replace all the laundry room windows. Does that kind of explain what we're talking about? Okay, now, questions. Wow.
Well, I'd like to make it clear, too, Chris. You know, you have the option to fix your own windows. It might be beneficial to somebody like in a C unit that only has 2 windows, one in the front and one in the back, rather than go into something where he's going to have to pay a percentage of. It'd be a lot cheaper to fix your own windows. Just a thought. Bertie, I don't know if I said that right, Chris. Did I say that right?
Yes, that is exactly right.
Okay. Wait for the microphone. All right, Tom, go ahead. I'm sorry. One second. Bertie.
Tom Kabansky, 26B. The question I have is regarding the impact windows themselves. So someone requests their impact window to be replaced, or their window to be replaced. Why do we have to replace it with an impact window? Impact windows does not mean that they won't break. It means they will sustain some damage, but then maybe a 2x4 won't go through it, but that doesn't mean that that window is not going to break. So I'm not sure, we have all the answers when it comes to how we replace windows around here and why we need to replace windows with impact windows. So.
Martin County Code, that if you replace the windows, they have to be brought up to hurricane impact. You either have to put in a hurricane impact window or you have to put shutters. It has to be made hurricane proof. And Tom is 100% right. We have actually had impact windows cracked by golf balls. If a golf ball hits it the right way, it shatters like a car windshield. Doesn't break in, but it shatters. But unfortunately, that's what the code is, that any opening that is done now must be brought up to code, which is either impact or shutters.
Yes, Bertie?
Wait a minute. You were next in line.
I had a comment. I live in a 23A. We did all of our windows with impact windows. I have 7 windows in my unit. They count a window like this as 2 windows.
Correct.
And I did the slider, and compared to where I came from, I got a great deal.
That's good. That takes
Now,
you out of this predicament. You're not involved in it then. If you have your own windows already done, you're
So
not...
am I hearing that if my impact window breaks from a golf ball, you'll replace the glass?
That's correct. That is correct.
Excellent, thank you.
Once the windows are installed, whether you did them or Monterey did them, once they're in, they are then Monterey's responsibility. I have fixed two already that have been broken, and that is done by a contractor. We can't do them. We do regular glass, but we cannot fix them. So that is done by Monterey Glass or North Windows, whatever that company is. Yeah. Yes.
Ron?
Chris, I believe you mentioned that if you have shutters, you do not have to put impact windows in as long as you're shuttered.
Correct, and that is going to be something that's going to be a separate issue with the windows. So let's say you needed windows, you have shutters. You don't have to pay for impact, okay? That's going to be a lot less money, but it's going to be incorporated into the overall special assessment.
Unless I replace them.
Unless you replace them. And if you replace regular ones, that's fine because you have shutters.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
I have a question. Jean?
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Pam.
No, go ahead, Bob.
Chris, do I understand you correctly? Is, for example, we have 2 windows, the 2 small windows, one for the small bathroom and one for the kitchen. We have shutters on those, okay, the hurricane shutters, the regular shutters. I thought that meant that when the assessment comes out, we would be negated from that. Isn't that correct?
No, no,
No?
it's not, no.
So-
Because you do not have windows. You have hurricane protection. What we would do is, your window would be a different price, okay? So let's say that's the window we're funding for this particular year. Instead of your window being $3,400, to replace your windows because you already have shutters, let's say your windows are only $2,200. It's, just because you have shutters doesn't mean you're not exempt from replacing the windows.
So you'd be part of that assessment,
You'd be
you're
part of
saying?
that assessment, correct.
Okay. I don't,
Bob, this is exactly what Gene just said. In a case like that, it would be less expensive for you to go get your own regular windows put in because you already have shutters, and then you would be exempt from the special assessment.
Okay, anyone else? Oh, Pam, I'm sorry.
When we're talking windows, are we talking just windows, or are we talking the slider on the patio? Sorry.
You're a mean person. Okay, so again, it is only if it cannot be repaired. Okay? So we have not one single work order ever have we gotten for the repair of a door. And the repair of a sliding glass door does not count the rollers. That is your responsibility. If there was a big crack in the glass and it had to be done, and we would have to upgrade to hurricane-proof, that falls under the windows. However, that is not part of this whole special assessment. That is a total separate one, and it would be addressed at a different time.
Okay, as you can see, there's a lot of things to talk about here. We had made a couple of suggestions to the attorney so far, but we seem to have narrowed it down now. He turned down a few of them. And once we get that together, we'll bring it before the board for a vote and then proceed with how we decide to do this. It's something, if you have windows that are working fine, that are not impact windows, there's no rush to do them. We'll be doing a limited amount, what it looks like, a limited amount per year, and eventually that will be done every year until we get them all done. Okay, so that should be set out to a board for a vote soon, but I don't know if we have, if we're ready yet to do.
We need more information.
This was the, initial thing. I definitely have to get with Jacob, and we're going to be getting a couple of bids for doing 10 units. Like I said, one of each type unit. We'll get that overall price. I'll get with Jacob, our attorney, so we can actually set up how the special assessment would be done. We have to count, of course, every unit that already has their windows, who would be exempt. And just to add that, because it's been out, that if I go and get my own windows, so if you don't have the windows right this minute, and we do the special assessment, you're going to get special assessed. If you go and get your windows the next year, you're going to be exempt from the special assessment. If we put your windows in, you're not exempt from the special assessment.
Whoa.
No. If Monterey puts your window in, you've only paid 1 year's worth of special assessment. Okay? It's if you paid for your windows totally by yourself is the only time you're exempt. So the 10 people that might get their units done in the first round, they're going to pay until every single window is done in this community. They're going to be part of that special assessment till all the windows are done. And it doesn't go with the person, it goes with the unit. So when you go to sell your unit, that person that's buying your unit is going to have a special assessment every year until every window is complete.
And when we go to do a calculation of the window replacement
Yes.
for say 10 units.
Yes.
We will be calculating every window in an AEF.
Correct.
AE,
It will be
whatever.
it will be every window. It would be on the assumption that every single window in that unit has to be done. So the board would fund for all of them. As I said in the beginning, we may not do that. We may get to Vic's unit and he only needs a kitchen window. Okay, that still leaves his back window available for somebody else. And it would be, again, a first come, first served. However, they have to be to the point where they can no longer be repaired. It's not just the point of upgrading to impact windows.
But the assessment will be based on a total replacement for all 10 units.
That's correct.
Thank you.
As you can see, it's pretty complicated. But we've been working on it for quite a while, and we're making some headway there. Yes?
Chris, when you received
Excuse me, could you, your name and your unit number, please?
I'm Robin Parsons, and I'm in 38J. When you received the bid price, Chris.
Yes.
And you published that bid price, is it going to be possible for us as individuals to purchase at the bid price before the assessment? Because my concern is that, you know, how many years will it be before all these windows can be replaced?
50 years, roughly.
50 years, I'll be dead.
Not quite. Not quite. There's about 100 done, so let's say 40.
Yeah, and being in a J unit, it seems that we're always paying, you know, an extra share, and who knows when my window might even be done.
Right. So what happened a couple of years ago, we actually had about 40 units or more that they got together and they did the windows on their own. They got a better price. They probably did 40 units in a summer. I would think that that would be something that the board would definitely allow, because it's going to lower the price for everybody else. Right. It's going to help out the whole place getting done. That if we can get a decent price for doing bulk windows, that 100%, whoever's talking, please, Jim, that we would definitely make it available. That, look, anyone who wants to go get their windows, go get them. This is the one time where an end unit would be helped out by the smaller units because of the percentage thing. The smaller units are going to help pay for your 8 windows when they only have 2. However, when it would happen, exactly. So once we get the price from the companies that will be bidding, I would assume that we would put that out there and say, look, anyone who wants to do their own, go ahead. Here's the prices. Go get them. And you will be exempt from the special assessment from then on.
Yes, Bertie.
Like I said earlier, we had our windows done. Had we been upstairs, it would have cost more. I don't know if people are aware of that either. Because they have to get
Yes. It depending on if they have to put scaffolding up and things like that, the windows, of course, are going to be more expensive for upstairs units. That'll all be incorporated in the special assessment.
In order to get a group like the previous group of about 40 residents, it would have to be initiated by someone, you know, from the community. The board would not take part in it. But it's certainly doable.
Yes, definitely. Because I know you've approached me, Paul's approached me, a couple of other people have that. When and if you get the price, would it be made available? 100%. Because in the long run, you're saving money for the association, which is you guys. I mean,
Saving your own money.
Well,
Bertie, no, back and talk here, Bertie, please.
it could be up to the contractor. Our original thing is going to be on 10 units. However, if we say, okay, here's the price that 10 units are going to be within a year, okay, now there are 15, 20 people that said, hey, we want to get our windows done immediately. What can you do for us?
Ron?
One of the things I wanted to say is that if you have a contractor do this, you'll be able to pick the window you want. You might get a better quality window. Yeah. Okay. That's one of the things, and there's something else I had in my mind. I forgot what it was now. The same thing with the windows. If you install these windows, I think you're better off. I think you're better off probably doing it on your own. I really do. I mean, in the long run, because it's going to cost you more money. Yeah. It's going to cost you more money. It costs some people more money in the long run.
Other than the end units, it's going to be more expensive for every other unit to pay by special assessment.
Right.
Okay? I hate to say that because finally you end unit people were going to get a break, but it is true. It is 100% true that it'll be less money for you to do your own windows than to pay the special assessment.
Okay, in the back?
Wait,
Pat Ellington, 44G. I have contacted 3 people because I have the shutters all over all my windows, and they don't want to quote on non-impact.
You don't need impact. If
I
you have
know-
shutters on all the windows, you don't have to have impact.
I know, but I would like to replace the old windows, but none of the companies want to quote on non-impact. They want it all to be high impact.
I'm sure that my 400 units that still have to be done will have a little better buying power. You know, we'll make it that, look, you want this bid. If the people already have shutters, they don't need impact by law. So if you want this bid, you're putting in regular windows. All these windows in this clubhouse are all regular windows. We saved a ton of money because we have shutters on everything. So we'll work that out.
Okay.
One more. Who's left? Ron again? Who's coming?
That's it. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. As you can see, it's really complicated, but we're working on it, and we'll keep you informed. Okay, next item is the candidates for the opening at the Finance Committee. I'd like to make a comment on this, first of all. The Finance Committee, we had 2 candidates submitted, one by the chair of the Finance Committee and one by the liaison, also board member. 2 very capable suggestions for the one open spot on the Finance Committee. I don't think it's right that the board should make a decision on, or a choice of which one to send to the Finance Committee to be a member there. You know, the Finance Committee itself is going to be dealing with this person, not dealing with him, but working with him and having him part of the committee. I feel I'd like to send this back to the Finance Committee and ask them to make a decision out of the 2 possible candidates, and then make the presentation to the board. As our rules say that the board has to approve, but it doesn't say we have to make a choice. You know, what do I know about, all I have in front of me is a resume of a person that wants to be a candidate on the board. And I think if it's that very important, in an important committee like the Finance Committee, they're able to sit down with the person and, you know, talk to them and get a feel just how they would fit with the other members of the committee. So I think it's just the logical thing to do. You know, I'm not ready to make a decision on somebody that's going to be working with a Finance Committee. I think the Finance Committee should make their choice and then submit it to the board for approval. And I'm not making a motion on that. That is just a suggestion. And I'd like to poll the board on it and see how they feel about it. And I'll start with Kim.
I agree with you, Gene. I have never been in any position where a committee submitted their requests for additional members unless it was for final approval. And I certainly can read a resume and have an idea, and they both do seem very, very well qualified. But that's about all I could base my opinion on, whereas I would hope that the Finance Committee would have had other observations that perhaps these 2 people came to meetings. They were obviously eager to learn more about the committee and to participate. So I agree that it should go back to them.
Well said, Kim. Thank you. Lorraine.
I agree with Kim. I think we shouldn't get involved in selecting candidates for committees. I think it should be up to the committee themselves and the chair. And then we can vote on whatever the one they want to have.
Tom.
I totally agree with everything that's been said so far. In the Planning Committee, when we have new members, the committee votes. They pick the candidate, and we submit it to the board, and the board either says yes or no. And I think that's the way it should be handled on all of the committees that report to the board.
Thank you, Tom. Vic.
of the candidates did come to me and submit their application. When I was chairman of the Finance Committee, we had some openings, and we choose who filled the position. My only hope is that if we turn it back to the Finance Committee, that they pick the most qualified person for the position.
All right, thanks. Pam?
I agree with everything that's been said. However, I do remember right after I was elected last year, I went to the Finance Committee, and I had suggested at that time any and all openings should be posted on 63 so that people in the community are aware of what is available, and I still stand by that statement. And I really think that every committee, whether it's a board or a MORA committee, should post what's coming up and will be available for election.
Thank you, Pam. We have that on the agenda today. We'll be talking about it in a few minutes.
It was a segue.
Okay. Diane?
I agree with what everybody has said, and I hope the Finance Committee actually sits down and interviews both candidates so that you get an idea of what would be a good working relationship.
Thank you. Chris, you want to say anything on it?
Only Pam's thing that I know we're going to be talking about, and I had mentioned that yesterday at the annual owners meeting, because I looked out in the audience and saw some faces that may want to start volunteering.
Great.
So let's get them involved. But here's the thing that we've always heard. How do you get on a committee? How do you even know there's an opening? So I agree. I think that we should post it on 63 for every single committee that has an opening. And they should contact the chairman of that committee.
Yes.
I agree, and I would also recommend putting it on the bulletin boards, because obviously it might not get into chip shots for the month, but I think on the bulletin boards, we could always have a constant openings available.
And no one ever looks at 63.
No, they don't look at chip shots and the bulletin boards either, so.
All right, comments from residents? Yes, Bertie. Down here in the front. You got to get you your own microphone, Bertie.
When you post this information of what's available, can you give a description of what that committee actually does? I understand finance, but what do they finance? What do they look at? They look at all the contracts? What do they do?
Okay, so I'm sure we could write something up, but again, other than on the bulletin boards or in chip shots, it's going to be limited on what we can really put on 63. But for instance, we could there's an opening on the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee recommends what our reserves should be. I mean, there definitely can be one or two little sentences.
And what kind of background you want somebody to have?
Well, you don't have to have, nope, that is totally, you can.
Call the chair.
Yes.
Call the chair of the
Call the
committee and he'll
chairperson.
fill you in. Didn't we start something recently?
The chairman of the committee contact them.
Like we do with everything.
Yes.
Chris, didn't we start something about a pamphlet put out on all the...
Yes, we did, and we didn't get responses from the chairs of the committees so that I would know how to put it together.
Okay. When I was up on a board up north, we had that. We had a pamphlet that was given to anyone who was interested in, and it described each committee and what they were responsible for. We started that, but evidently it's still a work in progress. But we can get a little tougher on it. Okay. Anyone else? I think Lee had his hand up, right, Lee?
The Finance Committee has scheduled a meeting next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Chris and I confirmed that, I believe it was last week. And it should go on 63. So anybody's welcome. That'll certainly be on the agenda for next week. There's already been a lot of time spent in it. You can discuss it however you want. If you want to put it on 63 and delay it for whatever. But it's quite possible it'll be resolved by next Wednesday.
Okay, that's great. If you do resolve it, get word to us and we'll put it on the agenda. Okay, thanks, Lee. Anyone else?
Well, it's great to see two people that want to be in one position. That's fantastic. The thing is, though, is if anybody's interested in any of the, like the Finance Committee, Budget Committee, or anything, there are resolutions. We have a resolution for every committee, okay? And there used to be on a flash drive that we had for the board, I know, but all the resolutions are posted in the, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, all the resolutions are posted in the lobby and where anybody has access to it. So if you're interested in Finance Committee, there's a resolution, how many people should be on that committee, what the responsibilities are, and right down the line, okay? And I would recommend, or I would suggest, if two people want one position, take that into consideration. However, the other one might want to be beneficial on the Budget Committee. But you don't want to turn anybody down, especially if you have people that are qualified that want the same position. It's good. You don't want to turn anybody off because we need all the help we can get on things. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob. Anyone else? Yes, Kathy. Wait 1 second.
Sorry. What date was the date for the Finance Committee? You said next Wednesday. Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's the 16th.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. In the glass room, 2 p.m.
Anyone else? So simply glad to see Lee put something together, and we'll get a decision, and hopefully the board will be able to vote on it on the agenda in a couple of weeks. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, the next one is to consider all openings on committees to be shown on Channel 63. So, we were kicking this around last week, Chris and I, and we said that this is long overdue. We want to encourage, the residents to volunteer, and so they can, if they see something that they like, they just call the committee chairman. He'll elaborate or let them know exactly what's going on, and if they're still interested, put their name in a hat and take it from there. I'll go around on the board, and I'll start with Pam this time.
Oh, I'm 100% for it.
Okay. Diane?
I'm for it also, but I'm wondering if maybe Maura could do a meeting and have all the chair people of the committees talk a little bit about their committees.
Good idea, Diane. Kim?
I agree that it should be on 63, and if possible, at Mora. The more advertisement the committees can get, I think the more people are going to be willing to volunteer.
Okay.
I agree. I agree with everyone.
And Tom?
I agree. The more information we can collect, the better it'll be.
And, I'm sorry, Vic. Yeah, go ahead.
You.
My only question is, where do these people go to put their information on 63? Who do they contact?
You can either contact the office, or you can either contact the office and Grace will give you one of the new Channel 63s if you don't know how to print it, or if you know how to do it, you can send it directly to Chris Davis or to Peg O'Keefe. We have decided that they both know what should and could go on there, and if there is any question, they ask me whether it should or not. So the office or directly to Chris.
Okay, and I certainly agree that we put it together. Just another thing, when I had brought this pamphlet from our previous board that I was on up north, it was really good and very helpful, and I think we should stress that a little more, get some of the committee heads to write up something about their committee so that someone can come right to the office and find out just what's available as to and might encourage them to volunteer for something too. Somebody had a hand up back there? Yes, Peg.
One other thing on that is to make sure that you reserve the room. It may already be booked for an interview if you're going to use a glass room, or if you want the main room. That's part of setting up your meetings. Be sure that your room is available.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
If you're going to have a meeting in the glass room, you have to make sure the room is available and hasn't been reserved for something else.
Okay.
Same thing with this
You're
floor
talking
here.
about committees and stuff, or
If
anybody
they want
wants to
these
use the
meetings,
office.
right.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make I'd like to put this on the agenda for next week, or next board meeting, that we can get going on this and make sure that, get the information out on 63 for anyone, any volunteer that is looking to join a committee. And that all committees will put their information and what they need on there, and hopefully either respond to the office or respond to the chairman of the committee. So, add to agenda. Okay, Lorraine, you had something you want to talk to us about the recycle?
Yes, I want to talk about the recycle bins. We all know it's a huge problem here when the right things aren't going in them, and there's plenty of plastic bags. The other night, I had a thought, and this is just a thought. I can take any request, but this is what we have in our laundry rooms. These type, what can be recycled and what cannot be recycled. These are very busy, and I'm sure not a lot of people are paying attention to them because we are having still problems. I thought my solution would be a flyer this size, colorful, but with one-line items. This is what is recyclable. List them, one line, one item, no pictures. I think the pictures kind of distract you from even looking at it because there's so many. And then have our building reps distribute to everyone that's in their building that is here now, living in their buildings, even the renters, and let them know these are the recycle procedures we have in place. We need to work on this, and I also thought that maybe if it's approved, the flyer is approved, we could have it enlarged, laminated, and put on each bin, the top of the bin, but towards the front of the bin, so people, if it's colorful, their eye is gonna go to that flyer. This is a suggestion I thought of, and I'm open to any suggestion from anyone else, because I think we need to start distributing the information of what is recyclable and what isn't recyclable to more people. This is one way to get everyone who's here now.
Okay.
Any suggestions?
Diane, comment?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, Lorraine. I did have a thought, but it's gone right now. Oh, I know what it was. I think that we should put this in the new owner's packet.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Pam?
I'm for it. Anything we can do would be great.
Okay. Vic?
I like Lorraine's idea, and I also was thinking of possibly including it in a copy of the chip shots, but just the items that are not, that cannot go in recycling.
Good idea, yeah.
And I think you can use the flyer that we have now.
These?
Yeah.
I think they're too busy. The people aren't gonna read these,
Well, for
really.
the chip shots, just what cannot be put in,
Oh.
not what can be put in. I found a total seat one day in the,
Oh, yeah.
thing.
I saw
I
it.
don't think that's recyclable.
I saw Christmas wreaths, I see all kinds
yeah.
of stuff. But the biggest problem are plastic bags.
Yeah.
Plastic bags, to me, is the biggest problem. People have their recyclables in a plastic bag, and they throw the whole thing in, instead of emptying the plastic bag. And a lot, I know there's renters here that really do not know what our rules are.
But
So this is,
how many meetings, as Chris said, you cannot put plastic bags in recyclable?
yep,
We can't stand beside the bins
No.
and watch what's put in there.
no, but if you have a flyer that's right on the cover of
You
the
would think.
cycle bin, towards the front, because your eye is going to be attracted to the color. I said it has to be colorful. And it'll be attracted, and then maybe people will read it.
Maybe. The problem will never be solved.
Tom?
No, but we're going to work on a flyer.
I agree with Elaine. Anything that can be done to let people know that they shouldn't be throwing whatever they feel like getting rid of into the recycle bin. Like, I found mattresses, I found things I won't even mention in the recycle bins. And the biggest thing are the plastic bags. I don't understand why people will not empty their plastic bag and take their plastic bag home and throw it away. I just don't understand it. And maybe we should recommend that if you're going to recycle, you don't go to the recycle bin with a plastic bag, that you use something else to carry that in so that you don't throw the plastic bag into the recycle bin.
Use a paper bag and you can throw it in.
What,
All right, thank you.
what
Kim?
if, oh, I'm sorry.
I've lived in the condominium all my adult life, and we had the same problem up north. We had the same similar recycle bins. We had the same, like people, although we were all working and perhaps didn't even have time to spend thinking about, oh gosh, this is a plastic bag. But anyway, my point being that we did have the same problem and tried various ways to solve it. So it's, I think Lorraine's idea is good. I think that by putting do not is a good idea as well. And we can post them and laminate them. We can do everything, but I'm not going to be a negative Nelly, and it will work.
Thank you, Kim.
I have a question for
second.
Chris. I forgot to ask Chris. Can we put anything on the recycle bins from Waste Management? Because I understand they don't care.
All right, just to mention, on our new garbage pails, we were having an issue, garbage boxes, I should say, with our neighbors still putting in the small bags and loose garbage and whatnot. Even after I spoke to them a couple of times, they just whatever forget or didn't care. So I made myself up a little flyer, put it on the inside of the bin. When you open it up, it's right there in your face. Tie your bags up, no small bags, whatever, just in big print. Haven't had a problem yet. So to put the idea on the recycle bins, put the flyer there, I think would help tremendously.
There's a cost associated with that, to have it laminated and enlarged.
We have the paper and we have the laminator.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And with Gene's thing, once all the boxes are in, we are going to put them on the inside of every single box. So when you open it, it's right there in your face. No Publix bags, 13-gallon, make sure they're tied, etc. That is something that we're going to add to every single one of the new bins.
And I think that's helpful, because people don't go to the laundry room. We keep saying, it's posted, these are posted in the laundry room. They go in the laundry room, you're doing laundry, you don't think to turn around and look at the bulletin board. Very few of us do. I mean, I'm guilty as anyone else. But I think by having something right on the bins themselves is a big help.
Okay, so what we need is someone that can put together
A flyer, because that's not me.
Who's good at that?
Lorraine's already talked to me.
Yeah, I talked to Pam.
Okay.
I
All
do.
right. So it's a work in progress.
We'll see what
We can put it on the agenda maybe for next week. If you have it done by 2 weeks, we'll see, okay? Not to put any pressure on you, Pam.
No pressure, Pam. 2
Okay.
weeks.
I do have an
Okay,
idea.
take questions from the audience. One sec, Claire. Oh, I'm sorry, Diane.
That's okay, Jean. I'm wondering if, with our new garbage trunks, I call them trunks, if their building or every building has one at each end, if we start to find garbage like you did and bags, I think an infraction letter should go to the whole building.
Well, we fixed the problem. Actually, the guys that pick up the garbage are helping. They're not taking the bags. They're not taking the smaller bags. They're leaving them in there and letting the people change the bags before they'll pick them up. We had a few issues like that, right, Chris? And it seems to work too. So the word will get around, but the signs definitely do help. But yeah, I appreciate you.
I'd just like to make one comment that it's not always just the residents that are using our bins
absolutely.
or our new
Absolutely.
garbage trunks. I live in an area where there are lots of workers and people coming in from the outside, coming in on weekends, and I can tell you what they had for lunch on Monday. So, I mean, we got to make sure that this knowledge isn't just dispersed among the residents, but as well as people who are employed or coming in that regard.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Peg's back there.
First of all, I would like to congratulate the board on the decision with those garbage containers, because they have made the community look so much better.
Oh, I agree, yeah.
I'm
nice
just
job.
really so happy about that. Secondly, I have taken a copy because, like Lorraine says, she and I are neighbors. Nobody reads the stuff on those boards. I take a copy and I put it on the inside of one of my kitchen cabinets, because when I first moved here, I came from a community that did recycling, but I was putting egg cartons. I didn't know. So now, because I know that if you take it down to those containers and they realize that there's something in it that they're not going to take it out. So it should be on an inside of a cabinet in the kitchen when you're separating everything.
All right, thank you. Claire?
That can be done.
Wait.
I have too much on the bulletin board in the laundry room. Everything is covered with more papers. You can't read it, and I have never seen that picture
What picture?
of never seen that.
This is the one that was
Probably buried under another flyer.
That's what I mean. Use a bigger bulletin board or get rid of some of those papers.
Yeah.
Talk to the building rep.
Your building rep.
I know.
Give the wave.
Okay, over here. Rosemary?
I'm in building 13, so 13, 14, 18, 19 are 4 buildings that share 3 recyclables. The recyclables are picked up on Thursday. By Sunday, they're full. By Tuesday, we have to walk down to 11, 12, or 15, 20. 15, 16, or whatever that building is. It's terrible. And what's happening...
What's your number,
13.
Rosemary? 13?
And there's no room to put another recyclable. But it's terrible because then they start to throw the stuff around the outside of the garbage pail. I'm always picking it up and squeezing plastic and putting it in.
We'll take a look at it, definitely.
Thank
I'll
you.
take a look. Okay?
One of the things that helps, if people break down their boxes, I've opened up the lid so many times and found a whole box in there taking up so much room.
Upside down, so...
Yeah, right. Break it down, then throw it in.
Okay, Ron?
He just answered what I was going to say. One of the things the other day I called Chris about throwing a toaster away, and he said I can't put it in there, and I don't understand why, because there's toilet seats and everything else in there, but but the boxes take up a lot of room. If you don't break them down, you're putting full boxes in there. That's why those bins are probably getting filled up, because people are just throwing hard boxes in there, and it doesn't take much. All you can do is step on them. Even if you step on them and just crush them, they'll go in. I kind of agree with Diane. I think they should send some type of a letter out to the whole building if there's an issue, if the issue continues. Okay, you can't get people to read anything. You can open those lids. You got to read it for them. A lot of them won't read it, so they have no idea. And like Chris has always said, when in doubt, throw it out. If you're not sure.
Right. Well, my flyer is working. I haven't had any issues since it went up. So on a garbage box, yeah.
I have
Peggy.
a question.
Yeah.
Chris has always said that our bins are tagged, that they're contaminated, and Waste Management won't pick them up.
Wait 1 second. Hold on. I'm sorry, Peg. Start again.
Chris has said that Waste Management won't pick up a bin that's contaminated. Do we get a report back from Waste Management? How do we know?
Okay, so since they started picking them up with the truck, with the arms, they just pick them up. We have not gotten any contamination notices in as long as they've been using those new trucks. When they used to actually have to wheel them and dump them themselves, especially building 50 and 51, got it numerous times where they would put a big orange sticker on top of the bin saying, "This bin is contaminated and it will not be picked up." And then we have to throw it in the compactor. It was in the summertime, you weren't here. But like I'm
So
saying,
Waste Management doesn't care. They're
waste-
taking anything and everything.
Peg, don't
Oh, I'm sorry.
say that. You're on TV. No, no, but we can get, they have done it in the past. And then we have to throw all that into the compactor. Now, we don't pay for recycling, but you pay a lot of money to dump that compactor every week during season. So the less garbage that we can put in the compactor saves us money in the long run.
Okay. Kathy?
Can I just ask when, do you have a final date for all of these garbage boxes to be put together and be out there?
So, hindsight, 2020, of course. We should have never put all 50 together at one time, because then they were on the grass, they were here, there, whatever. I believe last weekend they finished up all but some of the anchors on the ones that were already out at the building. We have an additional 28 right now that are getting ready to be put together. But what we're going to do is we're only going to do a building at a time. Rather than putting all 28 together, then they're sitting on the grass, the lawnmowers hit them, the lawn crew's got to move them, they're on top of garbage cans. That's still all being done by volunteers right now. So the finished timeline, I can't tell you, but they are ready to start on the additional 28 that were purchased.
Okay. We're moving along, Kat. We are. Jim?
I noticed walking around, you're talking about boxes, breaking them down. Almost all of the trash bins after the end of the weekend have boxes broken down and stuck between them. And it's pretty unsightly. Is there anything we can do to fix that? If all those boxes went into the bins, they'd be overflowing. There's not enough room to hold them anyhow.
Yeah, but a lot of those boxes, Jim, were large TVs, things like that. I've seen it down in my place all the time.
Yeah, they're still there, though, stuck between. They're still there, stuck between the bins, say Saturday and Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday until they're collected on Thursday.
Yeah. You have a suggestion? I mean,
Well, the ones that won't fit.
yeah.
Stop ordering.
I mean, if we put those boxes in there, they'd be full to the brim in no time. Ron?
Just to reiterate on Jim, I mean, I take a knife and I cut it up with a utility knife and cut them up, but not everybody's going to be able to do
No,
that.
not at all.
I think I have the
If
solution.
anybody has a solution, we'll
I
gladly
think I have a
listen to it.
solution.
All right, we finished.
I think I have a solution. Just don't order from Amazon.
All right, we finished our agenda now. Are there any questions? Yeah, from the residents on other items they want to talk about.
I got two things I got to say.
All right, hold on a second, Peg.
No, go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
At the last meeting, someone had written a letter about doing a closed Facebook group.
That's what exactly what I was.
Yeah.
Is there anything going to be done on that? I know 63, everybody's got stuff, but
Well,
there's a lot.
absolutely, absolutely. We had a request from a resident, Barry Moriarty.
Yep.
Who did this up north in his community and is willing to put it together.
Perfect.
And
I mean,
we think
there's
it's
a
a
lot
great
of people
idea,
I've talked
and it's in progress. You know, we're working on putting
Alrighty,
it together.
thank you.
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that the communications committee is going to be talking about that at their meeting, which is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. No, 1 o'clock.
Thursday at 1.
Thursday at 1. Thursday at 1, not tomorrow at 1.
Okay, Chris, you wanted to say
Okay,
something?
so I thought I had two things, but I know I have one for sure. Your ACHs did not come out. They're coming out tomorrow. So anybody who's on ACH, we know it didn't come out. I just approved it today. It will be taken out of your account tomorrow. I apologize for the confusion. That was it.
Okay. All right, any other comments from the residents? What's for lunch?
Wait a minute, Jane.
All right.
Jane,
wait.
Kathy had a comment earlier that was not answered.
Oh, that's right, Kathy, yeah. You want to say something, Kath?
Okay, I just want to let everybody know that a few years back, I had a crosswalk put in over there between the city and the county. They're in the process of putting lighted signs over there now, okay? I just got that done.
Thanks, Ron Longo.
Ron, could you repeat that? I didn't get.
The crosswalk signs that are over there now, they're going to be lighted now,
Great.
24/7. They're in the process of the city is in the process of putting them in. Okay, I just had that approved the other day.
Great. Thank you so much, Ron, for all your work you do. I appreciate it.
Hopefully it'll help everybody out.
I just wanted to say that this building is beautiful. It was redone, the library, everything. Then you walk out on the pool side. There's 5 lounge chairs that are broken. The furniture is stained. You can't get the dirt off it. Then last night we were over at the canopy, and those tables are disgusting. There's one that looks like somebody painted it like a rust color. They're terrible. And I think we should look at getting better tables for out there and at least get some new chairs. Start looking to do that.
We actually was talking to Chris and a couple other board members about it just a few days ago. Some of the straps are broken. We want to fix that and clean it up in the general.
But they're stained. You can't get, I mean, I know maybe they clean them, but they're stained. Some of the tables are broken. I mean, this is an extension of our beautiful building. And under the canopy is used a lot. Those tables are terrible.
All right, thank you, Kathy.
I'm saying this as a joke. Is this a setup? No. Because me and your husband have been working on it.
He doesn't talk. He doesn't talk to me.
So actually, Vic and I. Oh, that's when he talks. So actually, Vic and I have been talking about it because some of them are stained to the point from body oils, from suntan oil, etc., that they just do not come clean anymore. A lot of them, the straps are totally stretched out. So Vic's actually been doing the homework. To get a whole new chair is about $225, but to restrap them is only $90. So we are already discussing it and trying to figure out who exactly is going to be paying for it, which is most likely me, at getting the chairs restrapped. These chairs actually were bought way back when Ted Millard was the chairman of the House Committee. So we've gone through 2 major House committees since then. It's in the works for sure. And the ones that still have to be cleaned, I had them scheduled, and we had that cold weather, and I told Wes that I would not make them do it in weather under 50 degrees. So now it's getting warmer, they'll be out there cleaning them. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, Diane.
I have a question regarding the pool gate. And Chris is very aware of it, and other members of the board are aware of it, because I spoke to them about it. I've found rat traps that are holding the gate open, bungee cords that are holding the gate open. I come in and I announce to the people in the pool area, if this is yours, I have it, or you can get it right from Chris. And I just want to know what's going to be done. I mean, this is ongoing, and I don't know how to help you resolve that, other than being a policeman, woman.
Well, it is an issue, Diane. I would suggest, if you're at the pool and you see the gate open, tied back, just close it. It's okay with the board. That's supposed to be closed by order of the fire department. They're supposed to be closed. People open them up for whatever reason, forgot their key, or just don't want to, fish for their key or whatever. Those doors are supposed to be closed and locked. They're all built that way, and they should remain that way. I appreciate your input, Diane. Chris, you want to go ahead?
No, I knew the other thing. I'm sorry. It's just like everybody's been saying. You can read something till you're blue in the face. It's inconvenient for me to use my key. I'm going to tape this shut. I'm going to put a bungee cord on it. Yes. Human nature. I close them. I've got a box full of bungee cords. I've got the rat trap you gave me. Literally, somebody took a rat trap off the ground and wedged it into the gate. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I thought of the second thing. We picked up the annual meeting packets yesterday. They're going to start packing them, putting them together. Grace has already got all the ones that are being mailed. They're already going. The committee will be packing them up, and I imagine in the next couple of days, be giving them out to your building reps for them to deliver. Remember, anything that you can deliver by hand saves the association money, so try to do it. It'll be on 63, and I believe that like Millie Chambers and Bergie will be contacting the area ones that are in charge of 5 or whatever, for them to give the building reps all their packets for their buildings.
Okay, maybe we put a camera out by the gate and send out a few letters or something. Someone else?
You didn't answer Kathy's question about the canopy tables.
The canopy tables, I don't know who bought them.
Maura did.
Maura bought them. Do I replace them? Does Maura replace them? And it's been kicked around so many times. What kind of table? What are we
Yeah.
going to get? It's got to be handicapped. We don't want this. If somebody would literally come to me and say, these are the 6 tables we want, I'll buy them.
We'll go
Or,
from there.
or Maura will buy them because they got a bunch of money.
All right. Is
I
that?
know she did. Those were bought years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And Kathy, the one that's red, that's actually is rust from the sprinklers. Yeah, I don't think it's painted red. Don't know where it came from. No idea.
No idea.
Showed up one day.
I haven't seen it yet, but
Oh, my God.
somebody's cleaning out their condo or something to put it there. I don't know. We could, I got to take a look at it. If it's no good, I'll remove it. Okay, any other comments? Don't you dare. All right, I'm going to make a motion. We close this meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.